Yomarz, your life will be entrenched in shadow.
Oh man, it was just a dream. Oh shit, I gotta work on a review. No. Definitely no. No. Wait. What the hell's this garbage doing here? Oh no! It was just a dream! It was just a dream! Look at this thing. How did anybody ever think this would be a good idea? Did a bunch of Sega execs really listen to the pitch meeting for this game and then go, brilliant! The kids will love it! Well, actually, now that I think about it. The Sonic series has been a weird string of decisions over the past 20 years. I mean, how do you go from this to this? So to understand this game, we're gonna have to go back. Way back. In the beginning was Sonic the Hedgehog, a character to rival Mario and claim the platformer prize. He was sleek and fast and definitely marketed as the cool kids game. I mean, just look at the commercials.
Sonic 2 is here with 10 levels and a fresh new half-pipe. A casino zone, his new buddy Tails, and blast processing, which makes him faster than ever.
When in reality, it was actually a game about a furry little animal saving a bunch of furry little animals from a guy making cute little animal robots. Radical, right? But the marketing worked and people kept viewing Sonic as just that, the cooler game. Because not only is he cool, but his friends are cool, and you know what? If you like his games, you're also cool. But Sonic's cool quickly started approaching critical mass. He kept getting sleeker and faster, but Sonic Team were like, he's still not fast enough! So they gave him skateboards and race cars and anything to make him go even faster. But even this wasn't cool enough for Sega. No matter what they tried, Sonic was just too much of a good guy. And we all know good guys aren't cool, good guys are lame.
Now you see that evil will always triumph, because good is dumb.
So what did Sonic Team do to fix this problem? Shadow the motherfucking Hedgehog. The broody little furball that looks like if Sonic spent a little too much time at Hot Topic. The fucker's edgier than Adi Shankar, and that's saying something. Shadow first appeared in Sonic Adventure 2 on the Dreamcast, and due to his popularity, has been in most Sonic games since then. I'll admit that I also thought he was pretty cool back when I was an impressionable youth, but to be fair, I was a sucker for edgy bullshit. While Shadow is now an accepted staple of the franchise, his first few appearances were pretty game-changing as they introduced a deeper level of weirdly convoluted storytelling that had ever existed before in Sonic games. The short version is that 50 years ago, Dr. Robotnik's grandfather decided to try and make the ultimate life form, and after countless attempts, he finally made the perfect being. A hedgehog with red highlights and an attitude problem. To be fair, his previous attempts did turn out like this. But the government didn't approve of Robotnik's mad scientist bullshit, so they came in and shut everything down. They broke into Robotnik's space station, shot up the joint, arrested the doctor, and put Shadow in cryo-sleep. Also, there's this girl named Maria who died trying to save Shadow. I think he wanted to bone her. Or something. So then we fast forward 50 years to Sonic Adventure 2. Eggman wakes up Shadow, he's pissed off, some shit happens, and he teams up with Sonic and pals to save the world. He fights a giant lizard in space, and then he dies. But not really, because in Sonic Heroes he wakes up again, but he can't remember anything, so is it the real Shadow, or is it a clone? And then some crap story happens that doesn't really matter too much, and that leads us to right here. So is this game gonna give us a satisfying conclusion to Shadow's story? Ha! So right from the get-go, you'll know that this isn't your average Sonic game. After the deliciously over-the-top cutscene, you're greeted by this main menu that looks like Papa Roach's collective stool sample. Honestly, it looks like someone put one too many grunge filters on their Photoshop project. But whatever. When the game starts, we see Shadow standing solemnly alone in this picturesque city park, contemplating his existence, as people are known to do, when suddenly aliens pour out of the sky. But Shadow, being the too cool for school desperado, doesn't give two shits about the genocide of millions of people and turns to walk away when out of nowhere a Cyclops monster teleports in front of him and lays down some plot.
Find the 7 Chaos Emeralds and bring them to me as promised.
Who are you, and how do you know I'm Shadow? And what are you talking about? Just what was that all about? If he says he knows the truth about who I am, then like it or not, I have to believe him. The only way I'm gonna get the secrets to my past is to get those Chaos Emeralds.
And there you have it. To beat this game, you'll have to get all 7 Chaos Emeralds. Time to jump in. Throughout the game, we'll be interacting with a bunch of characters, including Sonic and all his friends, the evil Dr. Eggman, the eviler Black Doom, Mr. Angry General Guy, and even the President of the United States, who even has a framed photo of Sonic and Shadow on his desk. That's amazing. All while learning more about Shadow's mysterious past. Together, Shadow and his furry companions gather up all the Chaos Emeralds, hunt down Black Doom, and stop the destruction of the human race. In the end, Shadow stands before the alien overlord and realizes his place as a protector of the planet.
The Black Arms will rise again.
Let's do this! I'm Shadow the Hedgehog, and I made a promise that I intend to keep. With the power of these emeralds, Black Doom and his army are finished. This is who I am.
But that's only one way to play the game! In Shadow the Hedgehog, Sonic Team decided to be crazy and experimental and add branching objectives and a level web to the game. There's a total of 22 different levels in this game, and you only get 6 per playthrough. To reach different levels, you have 2 or possibly 3 objectives where you either help the heroes out, join the dark side and help the aliens out, or be a selfish bitch and say screw you to both of them. The third one's the best because in those you just head straight to the end, but for Hero and Dark you get a variety of different objectives such as kill X amount of a faction, find or activate X amount of a thing, or destroy X. And depending on which side you help out, you move to either the upper right square, the middle right square, or the lower right square. Throughout each playthrough, of which there are 326 different level combinations, each one uniquely named and listed by the way, you'll be told a half-assed story to string the levels together and attempt to explain what you're doing and why you're doing it. Actually, half-assed isn't strong enough. It's more like a full-assed story. I don't care how into Sonic lore you are, there is no way you'll be able to follow the story here. You'll be in a city and then you go to a castle and then you're back in the city and then you're in space and then you're blowing up a military base. Oh yeah, you also go inside the freaking internet. And how do they explain this? They don't. And that's only one possible playthrough. The cutscenes never change according to what level you're coming from, so it just turns into a jumbled mess. It's like if you filmed a bunch of tangentially related scenes, tossed them in a hat, picked a few out, and called it a movie. For instance, if you go down the neutral route, you'll just be pissing off Black Doom by not doing the evil objectives, right? Yet for some reason he still teleports you places and tells you to do shit for him, no harm, no foul. Like in the 4th level, after 3 whole levels of not giving a shit about Black Doom, he just brings Shadow up to some flying fortress in the sky and tells him to fight Eggman. Like, you know I'm not gonna do that, right? You know that.
You really don't understand the situation here, do you?
Also, depending on what playthrough you do, you'll meet characters that you literally never see again by the end of the game. If you go straight neutral, you'll see the President and the General in the first few cutscenes, but after that, nope, nothing. You also don't get any kind of resolution with Black Doom or Sonic, because in this story's ending, Shadow just decides that he's a robot and wants to enslave all the humans.
I am Shadow Android, the ultimate battle life form created by Eggman. You may have created me, Doctor, but I will now lead this empire and androids will rule! This is who I am!
Then he fights Eggman and karate chops him to death. As you would. The neutral endings are the only ones that are really different. There are 5 last stages and each has a good and bad objective, meaning that there are 10 endings total. They all involve Shadow defeating either Black Doom, Sonic and the General, or Eggman. And then he always ends with the same dumb, "This is who I am" line.
This is who I am. This is who I am. This is who I am. This is who I am.
Whether or not you care to get more than an ending or two is all up to you, but whether anyone can legitimately have fun playing this game is another story. You start off in scenic Westopolis, zipping through the air and falling along skyscrapers while the aliens and humans fight over the rubble. Also get used to seeing this level, but I'll get back to that in a minute. The destruction and high-octane action is kinda neat, but as soon as you stop moving and getting control of your character, you quickly realize that this game plays like you're ice skating on butter. It's so floaty and awkward and takes forever to get used to. Shadow moves so fast that it becomes impossible to control him accurately when he's running. I guarantee that you'll run into enemies far more than them actually hitting you. Platforming quickly becomes the most terrifying and frustrating part of this game, and you know that's kind of a problem when your game is a freaking platformer! The controls are so bad that they actually had to make a designated walk button so you could actually slow down and see what the fuck you're doing. And speaking of slow, the frame rate drops and slowdown in this game are ridiculous. It might be because I'm playing on the PS2 version, I don't know, but this thing turns into a slideshow at the drop of a hat. It's also crazy glitchy. What, did they patch this game with scotch tape? And the camera system doesn't make any of this any easier, as it's a pain to use and actively fights you when you're trying to look at something. You can't tilt it up or down, you can only zoom in and out, and this makes it a special kind of nightmare when you're trying to see something above or below you. Also, it's completely inverted, which for people like me who don't normally play games inverted, made me want to throw my controller at the wall on numerous occasions. And no, you can't change it in the menu. I tried. And this leads me to the gun controls, or should I say lack of control. Once you get past the comedy of seeing a hedgehog carrying guns, you realize that the shooting in this game is a joke. However, it is a necessary one. Shadow's normal attacks, the spin dash and homing attack, are pretty useless. The spin dash barely makes you go faster and hardly does any damage, and the homing attack, well, look at this.
Shadow, my soldiers have already secured the area. This city means nothing to us.
Not here.
And also they gave Shadow a punch attack in this game, but really don't even bother. Your range is so little that more often than not you'll just slam into guys and lose rings when trying to punch them. And all that could have been easily avoided if, you know, they made it so enemies could only hurt you when attacking you instead of just by touching you. I mean, is that crazy? I know that's a thing that's been in Sonic games for forever, but since they didn't update their game mechanics to fit their game, they had to give you weapons in order to actually kill anything effectively. You get your classic pistols, assault rifles, and rocket launchers, but you also get a bunch of alien weapons like alien pistols, assault rifles, and rocket launchers. Yeah, the normal guns aren't all that interesting. The really cool ones are the unlockable guns that you get for beating the game. My favorite's the Billy Hatcher gun. You know, from the game, Billy Hatcher. Nobody remembers Billy Hatcher. There are also vehicles in the game, but seriously don't even consider using them. Despite moving like a pinball in Vaseline, Shadow still controls better and moves faster than all the cars and bikes and robots you get to drive. And in addition to all the weapons and vehicles you get, there's also 2 different power-ups that you can acquire: Chaos Control and Chaos Blast. Both of them provide invincibility and unlimited ammo for a short amount of time, but they also have their own unique abilities. Chaos Blast is a powerful shockwave attack you get by killing a bunch of humans, and by killing them, I actually just mean knocking them to the ground. Because, you know, we wouldn't want this game to be dark or anything. This attack's okay, but when you use it, it does like a 3-second animation and it doesn't freeze time, meaning that enemies could easily walk out of the way before you get to use your attack. Chaos Control you get by killing a bunch of aliens, and this allows you to just zoom forward and skip a bunch of the level. Which sounds pretty neat, right? Especially when I've been talking about how shitty the controls are. However, you almost never want to use this, and I'll tell you why. And it's not because I have some kind of weird masochistic relationship with Shadow the Hedgehog. You'll never want to just fast forward through the levels because most of the time, you won't just be heading towards the goals at the end. For instance, the first level, Westopolis, requires you to kill either 45 humans or 45 aliens, depending on which side you choose. For this mission and the other ones like it, that amount of enemies is the exact amount of enemies in the level, meaning that you need to search for and kill every last one in order to beat the objective. Searching for them can be a pain, and if you just use Chaos Control, you'll just skip over a fuck ton of them and then have to backtrack anyway. And if you've played any Sonic game before, you'll know that the levels aren't designed for backtracking. So to get around that, they just decided to put a bunch of teleported checkpoints everywhere so you can zip around to your heart's content. This is not fun. Think about this for a second. Not only are you backtracking in a level that should only take you 10 to 20 minutes to beat, the game's also put together so poorly that they needed teleport pads to even allow you to backtrack in the first place. And while the levels are designed around speed and finesse, the objectives don't give a fuck about that. They require you to stop, walk slowly, and make sure you search every corner before continuing just so you don't have to play through the level over and over again. I played through this game at a snail's pace. I mean, just look at this footage right now. This is not how you play a Sonic game. And for everyone who wants to argue that this isn't a Sonic game and shouldn't be judged as one, I mean, come on, just look at it. It's as much a Sonic game as Sonic Adventure is a Sonic game. And here's the real kicker. None of this matters. None of it. I can really only see you playing through all this game if you're really into Sonic. But even if that's the case, I doubt you'd appreciate the big old white gloved middle finger this game gives you. Nothing you do throughout all the different ways you can play this game is canon. None of the endings are canon, none of the cutscenes are canon. The only things that are canon are the introduction and the endgame. Which endgame? The endgame you unlock after beating every single one of the game's original endings. Once you get all 10, you unlock the last story, which is a single level and a single boss fight. But you can't just load the last stage for each level and pick a different option in order to complete that ending. You have to play all the way from Westopolis and work your way to the end. Meaning that you have to play each of the 22 levels at least twice and play through Westopolis 10 freaking times. All I see when I close my eyes is Westopolis. So getting to the last story is hard enough, but then playing it isn't even worth it. It starts off with Shadow inside Black Doom's base with all the Chaos Emeralds, but then Black Doom traps Shadow and his furry pals and sends slugs to kill them. But Shadow, with the power of Deus Ex Machina, is able to break free and chases after Black Doom, leaving all his friends to be slowly eaten alive. Then you play a level that's pretty much identical to the level Final Haunt, which is the final stage of the good story, but remember, none of that's canon. And then Black Doom turns into a giant demon dragon, Shadow turns into a Super Saiyan, and they both duke it out in what appears to be hell. I'll just let this sink in. All of the last story feels like an extension of the hero playthrough, except that wouldn't make any sense since they haven't defeated Black Doom already, and also Shadow's with a bunch of people he'd never interact with if just doing the hero missions. This entire thing is in some weird alternate universe where Shadow somehow gets all the emeralds and goes to the alien base with everyone, again highlighting just how pointless your 10 playthroughs were if you decided to unlock this thing. And the conclusion we get here for Shadow is so fucking dumb. So since Grandpa Robotnik had a lot of trouble making his ultimate life form, he decided that the best course of action would be to go out into space and contact a hostile alien civilization and ask them for help. So Black Doom came aboard and gave his blood to help create Shadow in exchange for the Chaos Emeralds, which they needed to destroy the world.
Don't you know? You were created from my blood.
What?
So there you have it. That's the secret to Shadow's creation. He's part alien. Good for him. But it really isn't worth it to go through the entire game 10 times just to unlock the last story, or even to play this game at all. The most accurate word I can use to describe this game would be annoying. The shitty collage of a story is annoying, the controls are annoying, the ugly aesthetics are annoying, Shadow is annoying.
Shadow? Android? Am I an android too?
And it all never stops annoying you. One of the most aggravating parts of this game was that no matter what side you decided to help, both the humans and the aliens would always attack you, but they would never attack each other. I mean, there's supposed to be a war going on, but you never see humans and aliens killing each other in this game. However, they do try to fake it though, which I appreciate.
Let's get going.
And that kind of sums up what this game is, a failed attempt. Sonic Team wanted to make a darker, broodier game to fit with their darker, broodier character, but they just ended up with a shitty Sonic game that desperately wanted to be cool and mature. I mean, just look at all the swearing that they just toss in.
Damn, a dead end. Damn it. I'm going to destroy this damn planet. Damn you. Where's that damn fourth Chaos Emerald?
Man, this game's got more dams than the Panama Canal. But really, the tonal dissonance here is astounding. Sonic is a bright and colorful family-friendly game and always has been. You even see glimpses of that in this game. But they tried so hard to make it mature, and yet even after giving a furry animal a machine gun and teaching him to swear, the game still couldn't muster up a T rating. Look at this! E10 and up! Fucking Smash Brothers Melee got a T! Making Shadow use a gun is basically the equivalent of all those old Flash animations like Mario Rampage or Pac-Man War, where they just give video game characters guns and make it violent for no reason. It's pointless and unnecessary and just feels awkward in this universe. If the game was self-aware, I'd probably feel completely different about it, but it just takes itself way too seriously without making any attempt to support its serious tone. In short, I don't like this game. So is there anything redeemable about this game? Well, it's playable most of the time. I never had a game-breaking bug or a crash, so I guess there's that. But I never really had fun playing it. I remember liking it when I was a kid, but playing it again I just couldn't find anything enjoyable about it. The story's laughable, but this game is far from being so bad it's good. A friend and I were stuck playing the level Lethal Highway for maybe half an hour, so we looked up how to beat it, and I shit you not, one of the tips on the Sonic Wiki was to beat the last story first and unlock the most powerful gun and then go back. Yeah. Thanks. I can't tell you how relieved I was to stop playing this game. It was a pain from the moment I picked it up to the moment I put it down. Anyone who has fun in this game is either delusional or doesn't realize what fun is. Or this is their only game and they have to deal with that, for which I am so sorry. Fuck you, you the crow-looking motherfucker. I pray the Sonic team never makes a game like this again. Don't even think about wasting your time with Shadow the Hedgehog. But don't just take my word for it, I consulted one of the top internet reviewers out there to get his expert opinion on this game.
Hey, Yomarz wants you to do a cameo.
Who the fuck is Yomarz?